Hello, this is Dr. Harrington and this is Lecture 5, page 9. We're first going to sketch the graph of y is equal to square root of x. Do you want to help me today, Hunter?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my son will be helping me with this today. Alright, so we've done the square root of x before. The square root of 0 is 0. The square root of 1 is 1. And the square root of 4 is 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be 2. So that's going to come up and it's going to look like this. Now the one thing that you want to note here is that the domain for the square root of x is going to go from 0 to infinity. Remember, you can take the square root of 0. That's perfectly okay. Now, let's actually put all the stuff that we did in our last slide, slide 8, and put it together to graph this beast here. Now we may have to rewrite it and to rearrange it just a little bit, just so that we can see all the different phases. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as y is equal to 2 minus the square root of. Let me factor a minus sign out of this. So I'm just going to make this turn into minus x minus 1. Okay, and then that's going to be the same as saying negative, taking the square root of negative x plus 1 plus 2. Now let me show you how you decompose all these shifts. Okay, because basically what you do is you want to start with the square root of x and then construct this. So number 1, here's what I have. I have y is equal to the square root of negative x. Now, Hunter, what does that do if I put a negative x?
Reflect across y-axis.
Yes, exactly. That reflects across the y-axis. So that's going to reflect across the y-axis. Now, let me go ahead and draw each phase so we can see it here. Okay, so again, I'm going to draw the square root of x. So something like that. So again, that's the square root of x. The next thing I'm going to do is reflect it across the y-axis. I'll do that in purple. So that's going to look like this. And I'm going to get y is equal to the square root of negative x. Okay, now the second thing I want to do, because that's not quite what I want to put in x plus 1 inside of that. So that's going to be 2. I'm going to have y is equal to the square root of negative x plus 1. And what happens if I replace x with x plus 1, Hunter? What does that do?
Shift right 1 unit.
Shift right 1 unit. Exactly. So that's going to shift right 1 unit. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph that out there. So I'm going to take, remember, this blue graph, this purple graph, and I'm going to shift it to the right 1 unit. So that's going to come up and it's going to, I'm just shifting everything to the right. So the one that's in blue is going to be y is equal to the square root of negative x plus 1. Okay, now the third thing I want to do, so again, I'm just basically you start with the square root of x and you try to reconstruct this thing. Okay, so the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a minus sign out front. So I'm going to have y is equal to the negative square root of negative x plus 1. And Hunter, what happens when I put a minus sign in front?
Reflect across x-axis.
Exactly. So here I have the x-axis and the y-axis. So this whole thing is going to be reflected across the x-axis. So that's going to come down here like this. So see this one, the blue one right here, I'm reflecting across the x-axis. So this is going to be y is equal to negative square root of negative x plus 1. Okay, now last thing I want to do, 4, I'm going to add 2 to it. So I'm going to have y is equal to negative square root of negative x plus 1. And I'm going to add 2 to every y value. Now what happens if I add 2 to every y value, Hunter?
Shift up 2.
2 units. Exactly.
2 units.
Yeah, 2 units. That's okay.
How to the units?
Oh, well, there's no units on display, so you just call them units. So let me write this out. So this one right here, by the way, let me put in the details. This reflects across the x-axis. And as my son just mentioned, you shift up 2 units. Cool. Okay, now let's see what color. Sort of out of colors on this one. So let me do this one in... I don't have green, son. Do I have a green? Do you have a green pen? Black? Okay, I'll use black. So, yeah, I didn't use black yet. That's good. Good call. So, let's see. So I'm going to take this point here. I'm going to shift it up 2 units. 1, 2. Okay. And then I'm just going to, let's see, put that into there. So I'm just literally shifting up, whoops. There. So just take this red piece and I just shift it up. So the black is actually the correct answer. Now the one thing you want to note here is that this is going through the point, let's see if I put this 1, 2. Yep. So this little graph here is going to be the actual function. Y is equal to 2 minus the square root of 1 minus x. Now, what you want to do is you want to be always be careful about the order. The idea is you want to reconstruct the thing from y equals x. So sometimes it's good to kind of put these things down as you do that. Cool. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Hunter. Help me out.
Yep.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. There's a get a little old hand there. All right. Thanks.